Hello everyone, it's Neil here from 3D Tutor, back today with a slightly different tutorial. Today we're going to be making a Western style low poly wagon. It's quite a long tutorial, but follow along, see how far you get, and see if yours turns out better than mine in the end. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, let's add a cylinder, so Shift A, come down to cylinder, come over to here, open this up and put it to 16. X90, tab mode, Control R, 2 edge loops, left click, right click, come up to face select, select this face and click delete faces. Now come down and we want this one here to be there, so we'll delete faces from here, so Alt Shift and click, and Alt Shift and click and put delete faces, and now press L and delete faces. Now press A and S, Y and bring it in. Go up to vert select and select these verts here. Come up to proportional editing and click it on. Press S and pull out and start to bring it in. Just wants to be a tiny bit. Press 3 on the number pad. Press Shift Space to come into move. Click proportional editing off and bring them down. Hover over it, press the L button, Shift D to copy and bring across. Now still in vert select, select the top vert on this side, go to proportional editing and now start to pull this one out, like so. These are going to be the ends of the wagon, so if you go back into 3 now and just make sure that they're out enough for you, so you can pull them out a little bit further if needed. Now let's turn proportional editing off and grab these edge loops here, Shift D, let's bring them over, and now press E and Y and let's bring them out. Press Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click, press the S button to bring them out. And now grab the edge loops on the outside, so both outside, so grab it here, Alt Shift, and now do the same on this one. And right click and bridge edge loops. And now while hovering over this part here, press Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click and press the S button and bring it in. And now let's close the ends off, so Alt Shift when hovering over the ends, press Alt F, and now let's do the same on the other side. And now hovering over it, press the L button, P and selection. Press the tab button and now let's come back to our cloth. Click on the cloth, let's go over to spanner, so the modifier, add modifier, and click on solidify. And now let's start bringing these in, so bring it in like so to the size of the thickness you want your actual cloth, and click apply. Now let's start lining these pieces of cloth up, so let's come to this one first, so we'll highlight the whole thing with L and we'll drag this one over. And it doesn't matter too much if these overlap a little bit, so let's move this one out of the way as well. And also the origin is not to the right place, so we'll right click, origin, and now back into the cloth, so with this still highlighted, Shift D, bring it over, and now grab this one, L, Shift D, R, Z, 180, and let's turn it round. Now let's press tab button and go and grab our supports, and let's put the first support in. And now just check to make sure that it's going on the inside so that it actually comes through all the way around. With that done, now you can press Shift D and drag it across. And again we can press Shift D and drag it across. And just make sure that it's covering the whole gap up. And now finally we can join this all together. So Shift click and Shift click, press Ctrl J. And now we can right click first of all and set origin to geometry, and then S, Y and start to bring it in to the width that you want your wagon to be. So before we go any further, let's add some materials. So let's click this 4 times, click on the first one, click new, put this on diffuse, do the same with the second one, and finally the fourth one, So let's click on the top one now, and we're going to have this one a relatively dark colour, so darkish blackish. Click on the second one and we're going to have this quite a white colour. Click on the third one and we're going to have this a brown colour. And finally the fourth one, which we're going to also have a brown colour but a bit lighter. So let's put it down there and make sure it's a little bit lighter. And now let's add the materials to our mesh. So press tab button, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab the whole thing first of all and click assign with the white, and now come in, grab this one, the supports, and click assign and put your materials on. And now press the tab button, and with the cursor in the center, if it's not in the center, press shift S and cursor to world origin, and then shift S once more and selection to cursor. Press 1 on the number pad and now just bring it up, just so this edge is just on the ground plane. And now let's add in a cube, so shift A, cube, bring the cube down so it's just above the ground plane, SX to bring the cube in. So we want it just to be on the edge of here like this, and we also want it to be the full width of the carriage, so press 3, SY, let's bring it out, just so it's past here. And now we can press tab button, go into face mode, select the underneath of the face and let's bring it up. And let's now bring it in. Now hovering over the center, press Ctrl R, press 2, left click, right click, and now let's bring them out. So with medium point selected, let's press S, X and start to bring them out, just so they're just past this this support here. Now go into face select and let's select all these faces going round, press delete and faces. Into vert select, let's grab all these edges, same for this side, press the F button. Let's do this side first, so press Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click, and now we do the same on this side, Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click. Back to face select, now let's grab the inner faces, so Alt Shift, grab this one and this one, press the P button and click selection, and now press tab and press Ctrl J. Tab mode again, press A, and now come up to here and click on individual origins, press 3 to go into side view, come a bit closer, press the S, Z button and just bring them down just so you've got a gap in between. Now press the tab button and let's click on this part again, select the whole of this one here, press the L button, shift D and bring it over, and we're going to make it slightly wider, so S, Y and just bring it out a tiny bit, and then R, X and just bring it to round about the same orientation as this one here. And now we're going to do exactly the same to it to the other side, so press shift D, R, Z 180, and now let's drag this one back just so it's covering the back up. And now let's fill in the gaps on these pieces of wood that we've made. So first thing is we'll grab this one here, so hover over here, make sure nothing's selected, press L and H, and now come up to vertex select, go underneath, select all these vertices, press F, and now we'll do the same on these ones here. So F, press Alt H to bring in the middle ones back, and now we'll hide the top and bottom, press H, and now we can fill in these gaps here. So grab all the verts here and underneath and press F, and that'll fill all those gaps in there. Now you can press Alt H and bring everything back. Okay, let's set our material now. So come into material and click this little plus, click the down arrow, and we're going to pick the darker of the two browns. So click on that one and that'll highlight these in this material. Now with the cursor in the middle, click on this one, press L, Shift D, enter, Shift S, selection to cursor, R, Z 90, and now let's bring it into position. Press Ctrl 1 on the number pad and let's bring it down slightly, and let's make it smaller, and we're going to rotate it so it needs to be a little bit smaller than this. So let's now bring it in with SX and a little bit smaller on the Z axis, and now let's copy that one, so Shift D, bring it down. Don't worry that it's sticking out at the moment, Shift D, bring the next one down and try and place it into the middle. Now come to the side view, grab them all, and with individual origins selected, now press RX and rotate them round. And now we can grab the whole thing and pull it out and try and get them so they're quite level. They don't have to be exact. And now finally we'll click on each of the top verts and just pull them up till they're relatively flat. Now let's press Shift A and let's bring in a cube, make it smaller, and this is going to start for our front, so let's drag it over here and bring it down, and it's going to go on the bottom, so bring it here, SX, let's bring it out and just make sure then that it's actually in place, and we'll make it also a bit wider and just make sure it's not poking out through the bottom. And finally, in vert select, we'll grab this front vertex here and pull it out a bit. Now let's press Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click, come up to median point, and now drag them out a bit, so SX, and now going to face select and E, Z, and bring them up, and now E, Y, and bring it out, and now delete these two faces. Go to vert select, grab this face and this face, press F, and now let's grab these faces around here, F, and the same for this side. Now in face select, come on to the bottom of here, click on here and press Shift D, bring it down a little bit and press E, and just bring it down just a tiny little bit like so, and now let's grab the whole thing, so move it up, and now let's move it out. And finally S, X, bring it in a little bit, and there we've got our feet support. Okay, let's do our wagon bottom now. So invert select this vert and this vert, so the inner ones, press the F button, press P and selection, and now we can press tab and grab this, press the tab again, face select, grab this face, E, and now we can grab the whole thing and bring it up. And now we'll just make it slightly wider, so SX, and slightly thinner, so S, Y, and just bring it in like so. And finally now just bring it up just so it's just above this bottom one here. And now what we need to do is change the color, so come over here to materials and click this color on the bottom one. And now we can join it all up, so with this one selected, shift click on this one, press Ctrl J, and now we'll press the tab button, go into face select, and now just select these three faces here and the same on the other side, and with medium point selected on here, press the S and the X button and just bring them out just so they pass these supports here. And now let's press tab and let's join them to the cloth, so Ctrl J, and now we'll just set the origin, so right click, set origin to geometry, and now we can start working our wheels. So let's hide this with the H button and with the cursor in the center, so Shift S if it's not in the center, cursor to world origin. So now press Shift A, come to mesh and add a circle and click this to 16, press enter, and now let's turn it on the side, so R, Y, 90, press tab, go into vert select, select all the verts, so L, and now extrude them out with E, X, and they want to be the right width for your wagon wheels. Now let's grab the old thing, E and S, and bring it in, and this is the thickness of the wagon wheels now. And now we'll press Shift A once more, add in a circle, and put now this to 8, RY 90, and then S and make it smaller. Now with this selected, press the E button, enter, and S, and bring it in, and now we're going to drag it out this way, so E, X, and drag it out, and now press Alt F to close the hole. Now let's grab the whole thing, press the Z button, go into wireframe, press 7 to go over the top, and now what you're going to do is you're going to bring this out just so it comes to the edge of where the wheel starts, Finally, we're just going to grab now these vertices here, so the outside vertices, 7 again, and then we're going to extrude on the x-axis and bring them to the same width as the wheel. Now press Z again and let's go into solid mode, and now let's go into the front view. Now click on face select, select these faces, come up to select and click checker deselect, and now with this on individual origins we can press E, S, and we can bring them in to round about this distance. Now go back up here and put it on medium point, press E once more and S, and that should then bring your spokes into the middle. Then press S and X and just bring them out now to make the spokes a bit thicker on the inside. And now finally come to vert select, come around the back, select these verts once more, make sure you're on medium point, E, enter, S, and bring these in. So let's now press the tab button and move our wheel a bit out. Press Alt H, bring in the wagon, and now let's click on our wheel once again. Press Ctrl 3 on the number pad this time, and now let's line it up and make it a bit smaller. So the top of the wagon wheel for the back wants to be just touching, just close to the top of this wooden part here. Then let's press Shift D, and then let's bring this wheel over and make it a bit smaller, and just make sure that it lines up with this line on here or wherever your line is, and let's bring it down and line it up and make it a little bit bigger if it's needed. And finally now just bring it a bit forward so it's at the front of the carriage so that it looks like it can actually carry the carriage weight. And now we need to come around a little bit to the front, grab both the wheels and let's bring them back. This one, let's do this one first so it's nearly touching the wooden part. And now finally just grab this one on its own and bring it in again so this one's nearly touching. So this wheel's much further in than this one. Okay, grab both the wheels, press Ctrl J, right click, set origin to 3D cursor which should be in the middle. Come over to the spanner, click add modifier and you want to pick mirror modifier. Set it to Z and that'll put in the right place for you. And then click apply. So finally now we want to join the wheels up, so let's press the tab button. Make sure you invert select and let's select these front ones first, so Alt Shift select this side and then let's select this side, and now right click bridge edge loops, and let's now do the same for this one. So select these and these, right click bridge edge loops. Okay, before we move on to the last step, let's come up now and click our materials button on. Come to vert select, and now we're just going to go around each wheel and we're going to select the inside of here. So Alt Shift, click on the inside of here. Let's do that on this side. Alt Shift. Ctrl E, mark seam, and now we can select with face select. So let's select this wheel first, this wheel, this wheel, this wheel, and finally we'll select the insides of these as well. And now we can come across to our materials button, so click on this button here, click the plus, click down and click the darker wood. And now finally we'll select the holders, so select this one, press the L, press the plus, come down and select the support material and now click assign. Press the tab button and now you can see that we've got our supports there as well. Okay, let's do the bottom of our carriage. So press double tap A to get everything off, Shift A, and let's add a cube in. Let's make it smaller and we'll do the back first. So let's bring it down. And what we want it to do is we want it to go over our little rod here. So make it smaller and just fit into place. It doesn't need to be exact. And now we need to bring it out so it's round about the edges of here. So now press SX. Let's bring it out. And bring it up just to see, and we'll bring it in just a tad, and now we'll press tab, have everything selected, press Shift D, and let's bring it over now to our front as well, and let's bring it down and make this one slightly smaller and bring it out just a little bit. Okay, with this selected, press Shift D, Shift space to go into move, bring it up, and we're going to make this much smaller than this bottom piece here, so press the S to bring it in a little bit, and now press SX and make it roughly round about that sort of size. And now what we'll do is we'll press Ctrl R on this back one, press 2, left click, right click, bring them in a little bit with SX, and now go to face select, select this face and this face, right click, bridge faces. Okay, we'll use this face now, so click on this face, Shift D, and bring it to the front, to just under here, extrude it out, press Ctrl R, 2, left click, right click, go into face select, let's grab this face, E, Y, drag it out, press Ctrl 3, and now let's bring it down to the same level as the wheels, and finally SZ just to bring it in a little bit, press Ctrl R, and drag this down now so it comes towards the edge. Go into face select, select this face and this face. Now in individual origins, so E, S, bring them in, and with them still highlighted now, go back, put it on medium point, and then press S and X, and let's bring them out. Finally, let's add our materials, so come over to the materials tab, click the plus button and click it down to the darker wood here, and with these two selected, press Ctrl plus, and now click the plus button, click this down and press on this black one here, the support material, and now click assign. Press the tab button, zoom out, and now just let's have one final check over. I can see that there's just a little edge poking out here, so press tab, grab this one and let's move it over just a little bit, and now let's join it all up. So make sure you've got everything, Ctrl J, press the G button, and when you move it all together it'll all come together. And now press right click and set origin to geometry. So now I think the last thing I want to do is if I press tab button and I come in and hide this one and this one, so let's press hide on those, and I think I just want to bring these edges in a bit, so let's hide these two as well and this top one. And now let's press Ctrl R and pull it back to round about the thickness of the cloth on the outside. Now let's go into face select. So now I'll select this and this one, and I will hide these. And now I will select these round here, and you can see because we've hid these now, we're not actually selecting this ring round here, so that's exactly what I wanted. Press Ctrl 1, press E, enter, S, and let's just drag them in a little bit. And I'll also, as well, let's just press Ctrl 1 once more, I'll also bring them down a little bit, just so they're flat along here. And now I'll bring them in the X-axis, so I'll bring them together on the X. Now this is the back, so I expect it a lot more enclosed than the front, so I'll press Ctrl 1 again, and I'll bring it in perhaps a touch closer, like so. And now we'll come to the front, and we'll do kind of the same thing with the front. So the first thing is Ctrl R, bring it in, but we're only going to bring these in a little bit. So face select, and now let's select those two faces here and under here, and press H, and now grab these faces here. Make sure that you have not gripped these. Press 1, so go into front mode, E, S, let's bring them in just a tad on this one, and now let's bring them down. And I actually want this not quite as low down, so I'll bring it up a bit with SZ, and then let's pull it up so it's kind of even on the way around. Okay, let's bring everything back, so Alt H, and let's see how we're looking with that. So I think the only thing I need to do now is I do need to bring this back a little bit, as you can see here, and let's look at the back one as well. And also the back one needs pulling back a little bit as well. So now I'll grab these faces and this one, and I'll come round now and try and grab all these at this side, including this one, and now I'll go back to the front and I'll just drag them in just a little bit so that they're in the right place. Now let's have a look at the front ones. I don't think these are as much trouble. So let's go into vert select and we'll grab this vertex and this vertex, and then I'll pull them back like so, and then I'm going to scale them, so SX, and just scale them back just so they come in just in front of there. Now we'll press the tab button. We'll have one more look round, so let's double tap A so we can see what we're looking at, and that's looking much better like that. So now we need to do is just need to do a bit of tidying up. So let's come up here first and come up to face orientation. Just make sure all the faces are going the correct way, and you can see here that this one's not. So select this face with face select, press L, let's highlight it all, shift N, and that'll turn all the faces the correct way. Let's turn that off now. Now let's press the tab button, come up to object and press shade smooth, and now come over to the triangle over here and click this normals and click this auto smooth on, and then set your angle to something you're happy with. If I pull this down, you'll see that we're getting a lot of our hard edges here. It's normally set around 30 this to start with, so if I put it down to 30, this is probably what yours is going to look right now. Just take that up to around about 56 just to get rid of all those hard edges. I've got a few hard edges on there. Let's see if I can get rid of those as well. So there we are. And if I pull it back just a tiny bit, I can see actually that I keep all my hard edges on my wood now. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's the end of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and check out my links below to see my online tutorials. Thanks a lot, guys. See you on the next one. Bye bye.